Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So today, if you've not already seen by the title, something very exciting is happening. So I have been kind of thinking about doing this for a little while now, especially with rehabbing Snip, and so today is the day that you finally get to find out that she has moved yards, where she's moved yards to, why we've moved yards. So I'll start by saying Smokey has not moved yards. He is still at the same livery yard that Snip and him were at. I'll get into the reasons for not moving Smokey and moving Snip later on. Basically it's all to do with her rehabilitation. For those of you that don't know, Snip had surgery in January of this year on both her hind legs. We have just now got back to the schooling stage and actually getting her going a little bit. So we were ready for her to kind of make the move that we'd kind of been planning. I know, all very hush hush. So what I'm going to do is just jump straight into the action of actually moving Snip. Now on the actual day of moving Snip, I was very ill. I don't know if you can tell in my voice. I still am pretty ill. So I didn't film a huge amount, but basically we went down to the yard, boxed her up and took her to her new yard. So let me know in the comments if you can guess where we are moving Snip to, and yeah, let's go move Snippy. Of course, it is home. I am so excited to have Snip at home with the other 6 horses. So we now have 7 horses at Mum's, and their little Smokes is still on livery, which we will get into in a moment. But for now, we're just going to quickly go back a little bit in time to this morning, and I'm going to show you a little bit of Snip's new routine. So guys, there you go. Snippy has actually moved home to my parents' farm. Now at the moment her routine is slightly different. than what it's going to be. So at the minute she comes in on a night and she's currently in Taffy's stable. Now this will not be her stable. She's actually going to be in the outdoor stable, the first one we ever put her in. That will be her stable during like the winter and everything when all of the horses are in. But we thought while she's the only one coming in on a night with Caramel, we'd give her a little friend. So at the minute she comes in on an evening just because A, that was her routine at the last livery and we didn't want to change her routine and everything straight away, and B, she reacts really badly to midge bites. Yeah, you do. And we have quite a lot of midges here, and the first night we kind of left her out just to settle, and she got quite bitten on her stomach, so we don't want that happening again, do we? No, no we don't. Good girlie. You go out in a second. So it's currently 8 AM and she's like, why am I not out? It's because I'm filming Snippers. So I'm going to turn her out in a moment. But yeah, basically she's coming in on a night. She has got a little friend behind us. So we thought it was unfair to put her in a completely, you know, foreign place to her, somewhere she's only ever been once, and expect to stay in on her own. So she has got a little friend in with her as well. So little Miss Caramel has been coming in and being her little friend and staying in, which she is absolutely fine about because it means she gets more hay. So she's quite happy about it. So I'm going to get Snip ready and turn her out and then tell you a little bit more about why I've basically moved her to the farm. So as I said, little Miss One reacts to fly bites, so she has to be absolutely covered with her sweet itch rug and her fly mask. So that's what I'm going to pop on now before I turn her out. She's been doused in fly spray and even had some towel phaser gel on her tummy. Come here, my little bug. Oh, one here. There we go. Little Miss Bug features. Snippers. Excuse you. Excuse you. Come on. I know you're in the field with not a lot of grass, but that's because Chunk's eating yours down. He is, yes. Yeah. Okay. Good girl. Come on then. So currently Snip is going to be staying in Charlie's field because we have actually put her a brand new paddock in, which Chunk is currently eating off for her because we cannot let her get fat or laminitis. So this, she's next to Taffy, who she absolutely loves. Off she goes. So obviously there is not much grass in here at all for her. So at the moment we're putting out haylage for her, obviously Silvermore. So she's on Silvermore Light, and then as soon as Mr. Chunk, as he has eaten off her paddock, she can go in here, which is going to be her paddock, which has got a lot more grass. Are you feeling fat, Chunk? Have you been eating all of the grass? So her paddock runs all the way from that new gate here. Charlie's going to give us a demonstration and show us around my dad's allotment. And then that fencing, the new fencing, as you can see, past the piggies and the goats. So Charles needs to eat this down a little bit more for me. And then Miss Snipperdoodle can go in here. So she'll have a little bit more grass, but because she's not used to being on luscious grass, which this was until Chunk got his hooves on it, we didn't want her obviously having colic, and also I thought it was a bit mean to move her straight in next to the pigs and the goats. So this way she's had a field where she can see the pigs and goats and kind of get used to them and see that Chunk's always next to them and they're not scary. So I'm going to go get her haylage now, and then I will explain why we decided to make the move, because as you guys know, I always said that we didn't have any space on the farm, and as you can tell from the fact we've had to make a new paddock, we actually didn't. She's waiting for her best friend. You waiting for your best friend? She loves Taffy, don't you? He's eating. You're not going to get anything out of him for a while. He'll come to you soon. So Snip's eating her haylage now. She's had her breakfast and everything. She's quite happy. So I will get round to actually answering your questions. So I know everyone will be wanting to know, why have I moved Snip? Why haven't I moved Smokey? What are all the reasons behind it? So firstly, Snip is here and Smokes is staying here, and like it's not just a temporary thing, whereas Smokey is permanently staying at the livery yard also. So I always said I wouldn't move another horse home because A, we didn't have the room, which we really didn't. We've kind of just squished Snip in. And B, I didn't want to put on my mum. So if anyone who doesn't know the situation at home, because I know it's very confusing that I have so many different things going on, the 6 horses at home are not really ones that I have all that much to do with. Like, I ride them every now and again, but mum is the predominant one that cares for them. I come and help her when I can, but with work and everything I'm always very busy, obviously. And obviously I've got my own 2 horses who I keep in work. So that was why I just got so busy with work and everything that Smokey went on part livery, then we got Snip so that I could compete, and it just all got very, very busy. So I do try and come and help mum, but I didn't want to bring another horse home because I didn't want to put any more pressure on her, especially during winter. Summer's not too bad, you know, they all live out at home, so it's not too much work, but winter I know is a lot of work for mum. So that being said, obviously I have still brought Snip home, despite saying I wasn't going to. And it was just because it was in her best interest and mine, really. Sort of mentally I was getting very, very stressed about having her at the livery. Not because the livery is a bad place, obviously Smokey's still there. I really like the livery yard, the owners are great. It just wasn't the right environment to be rehabbing a horse that's going to be your future competition horse. I needed to have a little bit more control over basically her environment and what happened with her. She was on part livery, so that made it even more difficult that I wasn't the one doing everything. I could have been more involved, but work-wise I can't. So now that Snip's home, I have actually got a stable hand who will be doing her on the days that I can't, so it won't fall on mum's shoulders. So we basically have the stable hand here anyway who helps mum sometimes, but she'll be doing more, and she will be the one that poo-pits Snip, mucks her out and things like that when I can't be here. And I also have the extra support that mum can ride Snip if, for example, like next week, I'm actually going away for 6 days with Smokey, and we're going on a horsey holiday. I'd have loved to take Snip, but she's not yet like ready in her recovery to do something like that. So because she's got to stay at home, she can't have those 6 days off work because she's rehabilitating, so mum will keep her in work for me. So it just makes my life a hell of a lot easier. And as I said, like, the environment here, I can control the horses next to her. She's not having to move fields or anything. So a few weeks ago at the livery, they had to move some horses in the field next to Snip, which is fine. Like, that would be fine in any other circumstance, but for a horse that's recovering from surgery that isn't really meant to like fly about in the field or anything, she'd been flying about and I didn't even know these horses were moving in, so I hadn't like booted her up or anything, and she came in with a cut on her leg, and that was kind of like the final straw for me. I was like, I can't take not knowing what's happening with her. So that was when we kind of decided to move her home and did it quite quickly. Not that it's the livery's fault, like obviously that's a normal situation, but I just can't risk it with her. She is honestly so precious to me. So obviously we've moved her home, but I know these horses, like she's next to Chunk, she's next to Taff, neither of them flew about when she moved in. She literally walked in the field like she'd always been here. She's not really a horse that flies around anyway. And I've put her next to the 2 most docile horses we probably have here on the farm. So she's in good company. Obviously, I know I'll get a lot of questions, will you move Smokey home? No, Smokey is not moving home. So Smokes is staying at the livery. He's actually going to go away for a little bit of schooling livery soon. That's going to be next month, but he is actually staying at the livery for now, and then he'll go to a schooling livery and then he'll go back to the livery. But he's just not the sort of pony that would deal in this sort of environment. I've said that before. He kind of needs a busy environment and routine sort of changes at home, whereas at the livery yard, you know, they turn them out at the same time, they bring them in at the same time, and he's really happy there, and it's just easier on me. So I'm going to be coming and basically looking after Snip every single day that I can when I'm not working, or if I'm working from home, for example, and I don't have a show or something. So that means that I can be a lot more hands-on with her, whereas I don't have to stress about Smokes. Like, I know he's absolutely fine at the livery. He's fine with like a smaller arena and everything, whereas the arena was a really sticking point for me and Snip. Like, the arena at the livery, it's lovely, but it is small and it is deep, and they are the two things that she doesn't need when you're trying to, you know, look after those tendons and suspensories and everything. Like, she needs a really good surface. We're actually resurfacing part of the arena at home just to make sure it is perfect, and it's also, it gets watered, it gets harrowed all the time, so I just know it's all sort of looked after. And yeah, so basically she has come home so that I can just make sure that everything is as perfect as can be for her, and just so that I am not stressing, because the livery yard were absolutely fantastic, but here I can text Mum when I'm away, I can ring her, I can FaceTime her, I can be like, show me my pony. Mum will tell me absolutely every little thing. If that horse gets a flyby, Mum tells me, so I know exactly what's happening with her. I don't have to stress, and it is going to make rehabbing her so much easier, because she is going to have to just stay in constant work to keep those muscles healthy and happy. And obviously we need to build her up. And silly things like the horse boxes here. So her weekly water treadmill sessions, so much easier. It's literally going to take an hour off the time. So I don't have to come, get the box, drive the box to the yard, then go to water treadmill, take Snip back, then bring the box back, then drive home. Like, it just makes everything so much easier having her home. So that is the reason that Snippers has moved home. I am so happy that she is here, that she has settled, and that she is actually really happy. I think she's a lot happier here than actually she ever was at the livery yard. So it was definitely the right decision and the right move for her. And today, Snip actually had her very first ride at the yard since moving here. She has ridden in this arena once before. It was literally at Christmas when we brought her home to do some jumping, and that was actually the ride that made us decide to investigate, because we noticed one hop on the camera when it was in slow-mo. So she's actually only ever ridden here once, and she walked into the arena absolutely fine, like she'd always been there. She was actually a lot more relaxed than she has been in the arena of the livery recently, so I was so happy with her. We did some light work because the ground has been very hard recently, and she'd had a few days off. But yeah, so Snippy is home, Snippy is back in work. We will be doing basically daily schooling and then some hacking once the ground has softened up a little bit. We can hack around the farm and just walk, and that's fine, but proper hacking we'll be waiting on, because we've got a nice beautiful arena now. We might as well use it. So guys, that is Snippy all settled in. We've just had our first ride. You were so good. I am so excited for the future with this mare now I've got her home. I just really think we'll be able to do everything we need to do with her and have her absolutely flying soon. So yeah, that is Snippy's update. She is home, she's a happy gal, and I am definitely very happy. So thank you all so much for watching. There will be lots of videos coming, and as I mentioned, I am going on horsey holiday next week, so there will be a vlog of that also. So if you don't already, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all soon for another video. Bye guys.